very good team in the other dugout, and there wasn't one facet of our game that could take hold of that and overcome some of the mistakes we made on the mound and defensively. The guys fought. There's no question. They battled from the very first pitch of the game to the last pitch. So the expectation of fighting through it, good. To see it, necessary. And we clearly had our chances. Not a clean game by any stretch of the imagination. It was tough to sit through moments of that on our side. I'm sure they're probably saying the same thing, but they scored one more run than we did, and that's what matters, and they did a good job. They damaged mistakes, and when those go over the fence, that was the difference in this one. And again, the pitch execution, that's where it starts. The defense and the containment of the big inning is something we obviously have to work on, and it hurt us again today. And some of these guys are young and going through these games for the first time. We had a lot of freshmen out there involved in this today, and sometimes these learning moments are difficult, and today was one of those.
You played on stage as a freshman. What's the key to handling those situations?
Kind of like staying within yourself, and maybe as things are going south for you sometimes offensively, like making sure you go play good, solid, clean defense and trying to separate what's going on, and experiencing making mistakes on this stage is new and it's difficult, and I think sometimes those things compound a little bit, especially with the young guys. And the response, I saw some mistakes and I did see some quality responses, and that's the important thing, because you're not going to play flawless, but our mistakes are compounded right now. Like something on the mound, something defensively, that's how it opens up. And we haven't been able to separate some of the moments where it's not as clean. Like it seems to stack itself right now, and that's how people put together big innings that add up to really being the difference in a lot of these games.
So overall, what did you see from Jamie on the start?
I loved it. The fastball execution was really good. I can't remember. Here's the box score. So, what do you throw? 60 pitches, and we just didn't. There wasn't a lot of help there in the middle part of the game. I thought he was actually pretty good. I mean, that's a good. He struck out the side, I think, in the first, and he looked fine. And he's going to continue to get better. I think his secondary pitches were okay. I didn't think they were great, and that needs to continue to trend where he's got other pitches besides that fastball that he can finish people with, but his stuff profiles well, that fastball profiles well, and I think he'll just continue to get better and find the off-speed feel and the finish to the off-speed pitches like he does with the fastball.
When you talk about pitch execution, are the guys capable of what's being asked, or are you going to need some more time to figure out what they can go out and game situation and perform like?
Yes, quite frankly, yes. We need a little just experience with them to figure out who does what best. And as much as we scrimmage in the bullpens, when you get out here and you're trying to expand with two-strike pitches and make sure they're not in the strike zone, sometimes those moments show themselves on this stage, and it's tough, and that may get the point across more than it did in a scrimmage or a bullpen. So repeating and staying within yourself and staying in your mechanics as you grind through tough innings, is ultimately the key to pitch execution. And you try to boil it down to just one simple pitch at a time, but execute just that one with everything you got in the lane we're asking you to throw it, whether that's in the zone or out of the zone, and just try to be repetitive with that concept and mindset. And again, some of these guys, Dennison that was great, but you make one mistake with that fastball, a talented older team, like they make you pay for it. So we'll get there.
Is it any consolation that you had those 2-out, 2-strike moments?
Yeah, it is. You love to see the fight. And golly, the last 4 or 5 of our games have been like dog fight, pitch by pitch, your boxing matches. And I'm proud of the way they fought. But within the fight, you have to try to play clean. And we've had a hard time doing that on a consistent basis. And some of the stuff that comes up, some of the plays that are a little unusual, we're not handling some of the off-script stuff real well right now.
You're able to get, sorry.
Go ahead.
You able to get McGuire in the lineup today? Just how excited are you about his bat talent in the lineup?
Very excited. That's what the guy can do. And he's really good behind the plate. Now he's hurt, so we'll figure out where he stands from that. So that was a great entrance, and now I hope it's not a a lengthy exit for him because you saw what he's capable of doing. I mean, he's a physical, experienced hitter that's got some presence, and he does a great job behind the plate. And so does Colton. Like, we were kind of, that's our spot where we had a little depth if everybody's healthy. They'll be back, but I don't know how significant the injury is right now.
Crowell not available, obviously, and
He said he was not available today, so hopefully we get him tomorrow.
I mean, you almost had to go for it against USF and roll the dice with all the pitchers. You knew this was going to be a kind of scrape it by type of series. I mean, how kind of behind the eight ball are you with some of these? Well, you might wanted to pull Ryan, but you had to maybe see if Ryan could battle it through.
Yeah, he was pitching well, and we have to learn what some of these, especially the young guys, can do. And he was in control of the game, we felt like, and it was one pitch. So we knew the 13-inning deal. I knew that was tough. And Chuck and I, as this is going on, there's a game within the game that you're having to manage. And we felt like that was the way to go. I mean, you have a chance to win it, and we did. And then you have to turn to this. And, again, I think the guys have competed. It just, with what we're doing out of the bullpen right now, and some of the guys have been out there so much, we tried to give somebody else a chance. And I thought Ryan did a nice job.
You mentioned Colton. I mean, he's already surpassed his extra base hit total from last year. Just what do you think he's unlocked from the left side?
Comfort. The breaking pitches that work into you are a little easier to deal with than the breaking pitches that work away. That's the benefit of being a switch hitter. And I think it also gives you something if one side may not be going great and they go to the other type of arm and you get to flip it around. Sometimes it's just a breath of fresh air to get to turn the other way. And it's really helping us overall because it does give us another left-handed look in the lineup, which we lack. So he's been great, and his game at-bats have been competitive, and he shoots the ball probably better than I saw him do even in some of our practice work. Shoots that ball the other way and turns on the balls that are on the inner half. So that's been great fun to watch, and watching him in the cage in the fall, just taking some swings, and that's pretty good. So then he went through the reason he didn't and the injury and whatnot. So very happy with him, and he works hard. I mean, the guy's caught every pitch essentially. Tip my hat to Colton.
you guys had some loud outs, and I know that's baseball, but do you evaluate those as different than, solid contact was right at something?
I mean, we score what we do based on contact. So in a QAB system, that does help, and the guys feel good. It's just the luck of it sometimes, and there are times it evens out. Like you may line out, and that makes up for one of those balls that somehow trickles through there, a blooper. But overall, the at-bats have been competitive. And there have been moments where we've chased and the pitch recognition is not good enough and the expansion of the zone not good enough. But when you look at what you did against some good arms, like that part of it was okay. Now the damage that they were able to do with some of the balls that left the yard, like their loudness was not catchable. So that's the difference.
I can sense your disappointment, but you're not discouraged by any means. But are these guys having to learn of your expectations for them day in and day out, and are you seeing them rise or meet those levels?
Well, they expect to win just like I do, and we knew this was an entirely different group. And you lose your entire weekend rotation and your most used relievers, I guess, and you have a lot of newness on the field. So everybody do. Like, we knew this is what it was going to be, and we're razor thin with our pitching depth. Like, it's razor thin. This is the fewest number of pitchers I've had on a staff in 5 years. So just by sheer number, it's a little bit less. So maximizing what you have and finding, like Dennison today, finding opportunities for guys to go in there at a moment that you feel like they can handle and then extend a little bit. And we had other guys up, Flowers and Stockton and some of the other young guys are waiting, and you're just trying to find the right moment to let them get their feet wet and go with it. And Dennison last night, like, we didn't really have a choice. That was a time we'd seen him throw and knew he's competitive and had done a nice job. So you just have to figure it out. And some of these moments are difficult. Yeah, I'm not discouraged. You are frustrated, and you don't like to lose games like that, especially when you feel like you're right there. Both of these games, we were in a position to win them. and just weren't clean enough and efficient enough to do it.